$2,500 gold, $35 silver. How does that make you feel? Do you ever get frustrated? Do you ever find yourself wondering, like, is it really going to happen? Is it ever going to happen? Well, you're not alone. Even the bear's waiting for $2,500 gold so his blindfold can get removed. But what is going on right now that indicates to us that we could easily be on the road to $2,500 gold, $35 silver? We want to talk about that, right? We want to look at the big picture, what's going on and what indicates to us that that could be the likely outcome by the end of the year. We've got a couple important things to talk about today. We're going to talk about a conspiracy theory that I'm hearing floated around that directly relates to the price of silver and gold. But we also got to talk about our old friend Jerome Powell. The bear's making me do it. He wants me to pull that box out one more time. We're going to clearly demonstrate why Jerome Powell is in big trouble. He is boxed in, and that means a big move for the price of gold and silver by the end of the year. Are you going to be happy? Finally, when the silver and gold price take off, when the market, when the herd, right? Remember, you and I, we're only like 1 in 200 people. When the rest of the herd, or even just a little part of the herd, starts to realize what we already know, that the Fed is in trouble, the Fed is boxed in, and just a few of that herd decides to join us in the precious metals camp, the price of the metals will skyrocket. What do you say we borrow the box from the bear? You know, boxes have 6 sides on them, and I've come up with 6 major reasons why Jerome Powell is boxed in. That's the box. And you know who's in the box? Oh, our old friend Jerome. Reason number 1, inflation is raging. That's reason number 1, side 1 of the box. He even said it yesterday. It's going to be a long haul. It's going to be a bumpy road. When he's saying that, right, that means they really realize that inflation isn't going anywhere anytime soon. First Mining Gold is a development company advancing 2 of the largest gold projects in Canada. Springpole in Ontario and Duparquet, located in Quebec, each already has 5 million ounces of gold reserves, but exploration initiatives are underway at both projects to find even more gold. First Mining is well-financed, has 0 debt, and owns an interest in 4 additional Canadian gold development projects. Reason number 2 on the box. The economy is sputtering. We know the real numbers. We know what it's like. Boots on the ground, people like us, right? The economy is doing nowhere nearly as well as they are leading us to believe. That's also putting pressure on the Fed. Reason number 3, we've got this bank collapse, a mini financial crisis, a mini banking crisis, whatever you want to call it. Very telling that yesterday that was Jerome's first thing that he talked about during his press release was this banking crisis, and they talked about it a lot at the Fed. Remember, guys, they had an emergency meeting a couple Sundays ago, the Fed, the Treasury, and the FDIC, emergency meetings over the weekend. And then they wheeled out President Joe Biden that Monday morning to reassure us all that everything was okay. Read between the lines. See the forest through the trees. Everything is not okay. Thank you for joining me in Ron's basement right now. It's important. You're important. I'm glad you're here. And I got a feeling you're not like this. You're not a person who stays inside the box. As a matter of fact, you like to think outside the box. So I think that you found yourself a new home. I hope you feel like you found yourself a new home, because you are important and you are always welcome here. Number 4, side 4 on the box, the overall U.S. government financial condition, the fiscal condition of the U.S. government. They are spending way more money continually every year than they're bringing in. That puts pressure on the Fed. That's side number 4. Number 5, total world debt. Whether you don't want to look at the U.S. government debt or you want to look at the total world debt, you want to add in corporate debt, you want to add in mortgage debt, we have debt levels now that are multiples higher even than what we had during the great financial crisis. That adds total pressure on the entire system. Things start to get out of whack. All the bubble gum and duct tape is starting to come a little unglued. And number 6, geopolitics and de-dollarization. The world is changing like never before. Bifurcating, splitting in two. We've got all the BRICS countries. You know that whole story. We have a big part of the world that is moving away from the United States dominance, or another fancy word for that is hegemony, right? The dollar is king right now, but it appears there's a big portion of the world that wants to move away from the dollar. That's number 6. There's 6 sides to the box, and I would say that this guy inside the box, yeah, he's feeling some pressure. And what do you think is going to happen when all that pressure on that box, when it all comes to fruition? Aren't we going to see a dollar with less value? Aren't we going to see much higher gold and silver prices? Do you think we might see stagflation? I'll beat the table. I'll ring the bell, because I won't get any coffee, but I might as well ring the bell for the fact that stagflation is the most fertile ground for the price of precious metals. But wait a minute, what about this conspiracy theory I promised you? Well, there's a theory going around, just a theory I'll emphasize, that they're letting this banking crisis occur and maybe even get a little bit worse, because since nobody's buying U.S. treasuries, right? Nobody else in the world really wants U.S. treasuries right now. That's a way for the government to get people to move their money from the banks, because they're scared, into U.S. treasuries, because they're such a safe place to put their money, and that would help the government continue to fund this crazy fiscal policy that they have, where they're running deficits like we've never seen before. But there's a second component to this conspiracy. I'll emphasize conspiracy theory. Some people are saying that with the new central bank digital currencies, right, we've got the Fed Now thing coming out this summer, and that possibly by the end of the year, we may even see a full-blown central bank digital currency, that they're letting a crisis develop so they can use that for cover, again, to scare people, so that when the new CBDC comes along, people will say, oh, well, it's with the Fed, it's got to be safe. I'm so happy I get to move into a CBDC. Again, I want to emphasize these are theories that I'm reading about, but they do kind of sort of make sense, or possible sense. The one thing I do know is that when I look at all the massive changes going on in the world, I don't know how you see this, but when I look at it, one thing I do see is a big trend towards value and money, however you want to say it, moving back into the precious metals, because they are the base of all the other stuff that's made up. All the paper money, all the digital money, all the debt, all the derivatives, unicorn fart dust, as we like to refer to it. The real McCoy, right? The base level, the bedrock of it all has always been silver and gold. And I happen to believe, at least for my lifetime, and I plan on living at least another 1,000 years, that that will continue to be the case. Hey, thanks for joining me here in the basement. You're always welcome here. Me, you, the bear, and we'll see you next time.